hope things are well, mate. Obviously, I've just got out here. Sun was shining actually in Sydney. Obviously, a big talking part in Brisbane coming up is the weather. That's your neck of the woods, isn't it, mate, as well? So how's that going to affect the Test match?
Yeah, it's not great, Billy, and welcome to Australia. It's you've definitely come into the better part of the world at the moment. The wicket will be fine. It might have a bit of moisture in it, as it always does in Brisbane, but everything else about the ground and the outfield will be fine, mate. So, yeah, not an ideal build-up for both teams.
Nice. And obviously, you're saying there, the Gab, obviously, nowadays, with all the grounds, the facilities are so good, but obviously the wicket will still be a pretty good one, like you said, a bit of moisture, but won't be a Nasser Hussain look to bowl first will be an absolute shocker, a bit more in the balance, or is it a definite bat first again, do you reckon?
Well, it'll depend, mate. As a lot of the locals know, and I'm pretty sure it's caught on overseas to the touring sides, is if it's hot and humid and there's cloud cover, always look up, don't look down. And that's the general rule for the state teams that come here and play. And if it's hot and humid on that first morning with the moisture, that might not be a bad thing to bowl first and get the best out of the conditions. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. I actually think that England probably had the better prep. To be honest, I mean, the bowling unit, England's bowling unit, have been out here longer than the World Cup guys, obviously. As I said, our bowling unit, the three big quicks that. We don't know if Stark's going to play here. We don't know the three, I guess, but they've been over in the T20 World Cup. Jimmy and Broady have been over here. Ollie Robinson, all that have been over here and bowling during quarantine, which has been pretty good for them. So, but you're right. It's going to be that first morning that with the least of this ideal preparations. It's going to be the first team that adapts the quickest to in that first hour that probably sets the tone for the series.
And probably the best news from, I suppose, from England point of view this week is looks like Stokes cleared himself fit and raring to go, which again, a couple of months ago, that looked like that wasn't going to be anywhere close. So the fact that, our world-class all-rounder, I suppose, talisman and sort of a real focal point of the dressing room looks like he's raring to go. Obviously, he hasn't had time in the middle as such, which you would like. But again, the frame of mind and he'll be chomping at the bit, I think it's a good one for England.
Yeah, it isn't amazing. I mean, I think I read some things online and, this is one of England's, not their strongest side coming out and all of a sudden Stokes is in it and it just makes it, a lot stronger and it is just amazing. And he brings guys with him and is a leader. It's only today, I've been sort of watching highlights of the last sort of 2010, 2011, 13, 14 and, the innings he played at Perth, alongside you, you did yourself pretty well there. But his first, I think it was his first Test 100. I think it was it his first Test 100?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, his first one. Yeah,
and in conditions that supposedly are the hardest conditions, other than the Gabba, I guess, over here to play. He did it really well, and so that having him around there in the squad, mate, it's huge, and it obviously adds to the bowling unit as well, and obviously he's not bad in the field. So a genuine all-round cricketer and experienced cricketer is going to be great with this. Well, it's sort of a younger group, isn't it? That's sort of coming over and a little bit of experience. So. And again, I think with Australia, it's going to be the challenge to get the runs and get the runs on the board as well. So a huge, a great contest coming up. Chris Wokes, I forgot about Chris Wokes. He's probably like Ollie Robinson. He's another one that's going to suit these conditions really, really well. He's had he's played out here once, I think. Has he been? Did he come out in the last?
I think so. I think he's actually got a one-day fiver at the Gabba as well, which it's always a good memory.
So look, forget about him. He's another one who's going to be dangerous, and then adds that batting lower order as well. Who which also you can, if the obviously top order aren't firing, the bottom order runs are very crucial as well. So look, I think it's going to be a great battle. As you say, I have noticed Jimmy and Broady haven't been playing together. I think these are the conditions that probably suit them the best. And so we talk about Wood. If they're going strong, that allows Wood to come in and just do a Mitchell Johnson role and come in and fire away and put pressure on the Australian batsmen. So. Look, all in all, it's if the bowling attacks fire, good luck to our batters, but also the England batters who they're both going to be under huge pressure. It's going to be good to watch.
Yeah, you're right. You get the impression that, like you said, there's world-class players on each side, but there's a bit of vulnerability on both sides as well. So it feels like absolutely. At home, it's probably more on, I'd say, the slight negative that Australia are favourites, but then I get the impression over here it's not absolute stonewall that Aussies are favourites either. There obviously are concerns a little bit, even though it's full of world-class players as well. I suppose England are just trying to draw on the fact that India won last time they were here in the summer, and can England sort of come off the back of maybe a little bit of nerves? But then my understanding, again, if Australia start well, that's where I think it's going to be hard for England to get back in. So England are going to have to start this series incredibly well.
Action on our side with losing our captain Tim Payne and gaining a new captain in Pat Cummins, which a guy that's look, I think he'll do really well. I think he's got the respect, definitely the respect of the team, and he's a very popular player amongst the Australian public. But it's going to be a big challenge. There's no doubt about that. I never captained in my career. I never was a sort of a captain, but you can imagine that you come off the ground of a day and you bowl 20, 25 overs if it's a long day, if not, 30 if it's really bad. And you come in and all you want to do is sit down and get into your recovery and eat and do all that sort of stuff. He's going to have to go and do all the captain's interviews and all the stuff that goes with being a captain of the Australian cricket team or international cricket team. So it's going to be a big challenge for him to do that. I think he'll handle it pretty well. And I think obviously our media, we need a good media person in there. We've got one that'll handball a bit of it off away from him to be able to help him cope with that. But it's going to be a big challenge as new captain. And we talk about the makeup. There's vulnerability there, and we've only just sort of worked out. We think we've got our opener. We think we've got our number 5, or there's still a spot for number 5 there. There's still a bowling spot that people are talking about. So we're going into a summer again that a bit like last summer, where there's a couple of spots up for grabs. And also, as you say, we hadn't lost at the Gabba in 33 years, and we lost last year. So I guess the chink in the arm is there, and if it's there for the taking if England want to take it. And again, England have had success. Yes, it was a draw a few years ago, but we didn't win. Australia didn't win, so it's a great build up to this first test. What is a huge series.
And is Carey? Obviously, I've seen him in white ball cricket. He's good enough. Do you think he's obviously in that slot? Obviously, he's a class player anyway. He'll walk into it quite seamlessly.
Yeah, I think he will. Obviously, having played a lot of white ball cricket, being vice captain for the one-day team, he's got a really cool head on his shoulders. He's really calm, loves a big occasion, and I think he's been waiting for this moment for a long time. Obviously, we had a keeper there that was come in tough circumstances with the stuff that happened over in South Africa. Tim came in and did a really good job. It's unfortunate that he's out of the team for what he is now, but we've got a really good backup a really good new keeper in Alex, and he's played a lot of cricket. He's played a little bit of county cricket. He's played a lot of Indian Premier League. He's been around the world. He's been coached by a lot of really good coaches, and he's ready. This is his time, and and that's probably why I think he's got the nod over Josh Inglis. That he's got that little bit more experience, and as I say, he's been waiting in the wings. He's probably had his quietest year to date in the beginning of this sort of Sheffield Shield season, but he's been really good over the few previous years. So definitely, he's ready to go, and I think he's. I think he's going to love it and lap it up. And, it's, again, there's nothing better. It's funny, I've been really nervous. I've sort of been in and out. I've seen the players coming in and out of the indoor centre next door, mate. I've wanted to play again. Knowing there's a debutant, you want to be around, you want to be there. You love a debutant. Yeah. It's always good when one of your mates is getting his hat for the first time. You know what it's like. It gives you those, the juices have been flowing again for me. It's been amazing, So
no, you're right. In that morning, that first morning of the first day everyone will be feeling like you wish you had the opportunity again. And I was thinking as well, like we mentioned Ben Stokes as well, but obviously Cameron Green, young all-rounder, obviously the bits I've seen of him, he looks like he's going to be, this could be a platform for him to really kick on as well. I know with the bat, he's pretty impressive, but even if he takes a few overs off the big lads and the bowlers, that's a massive plus, and finding that all-rounder for Australia is really important. Yeah,
it is really important. Shane Watson did such a great job for such a long time. Cameron, I don't think he's taken a test wicket as yet. He's bowled a few overs. I don't think he's taken a test wicket, which has been a bit of a surprise because he can bowl quick and he can bowl some good areas. But I actually saw him today, and I had a good chat with him today. This is the best he's felt. He hasn't, because of his back has been 50-50, and he's been bowling to get fit. he's had a good run at it now, and he's bowling. He says he's bowling. He actually feels like a bowler now, not just a bloke who gives the bowlers a break. You know, he hasn't had that preparation like he's had now. So look, we know what he can do with the bat. He's been unbelievable with the bat. You know, and a great start and to his Test career. He's going to hopefully have more of an impact with the ball this series, but. You know, wants to probably mirror himself on Ben Stokes with the way, you know, I think that the Headingley test was used as an example. I think Cameron dreams of doing that one day, of being that person. But yeah, look, he's up for a good series again, and again he adds that extra firepower in the middle as the all rounder.
I was just thinking, I mean, from England's point of view, if we're going to get anything close, I mean, like the player of the series for me as well. The only way I see is when it's Joe Root carries on the form he has in the last 12 months. If he's man of the series for England, I do believe we've got a chance, but that's going to be off the back of he's going to have to emulate a little bit like Cookie did in 10-11, or just a volume of runs and then lead the batting unit to have something similar. If we do that, I think we've got an opportunity. So I don't know who you think your Aussie player of the series would be, but for me, England, if they've got a chance, I think it has to be Rooty right from the front and galvanise the guys. And they'd score an absolute truckload of runs. Yeah,
I mean, traditionally, Australia we're going to target, or they'll target him being the captain. Look, he's one that I know that's determined. I mean, again, not knowing him that well, but from the outside, the form he's been in, he hasn't had a great time here before in Australia, but that worries me as well from an Australian point of view, because, you know, I know he'd be so determined to come out and do so well. I agree with you. I think either him or Ben Stokes for England, I think will have a huge play in this series. I really do with Stokes, and obviously being out for a while, he's had a few dramas. But I think from an Aussie point of view, I know they'd be doing a lot of research on Ben Stokes, and him being fresh and not playing a lot of cricket. That hunger is going to be there for even more. So that's a worrying thing from Australia's point of view. I think probably from our point of view, I think you got to look at Hazelwood. Cummins obviously will do a great job. I think Hazelwood, the way he's bowling at the moment, obviously he's had great white ball form. But I think, you know, he seems to carry that form. The length he bowls is not a lot different from red ball to white ball. So that's going to be huge with him. And we probably Steve Smith. We haven't really touched on Steve Smith as yet. Yeah. You know, his Ashes record is unbelievable.
Insane.
So
yeah, it's insane.
It's unbelievable. So I think I think for me it's one of those two. I think for Australia. But again, it's going to be huge. You know, I know David Warner's determined as well. The battles we've got coming up. You know, Broad and Warner. You know, Smith and Anderson, you know, Marnus and probably Robinson or Wakesy. You know, it's going to be a great battle with a lot of you know, with the bat and ball.
No, you're right. I just in my head I can see as soon as Root comes to the crease, you're going to have Cummins and the guys literally on point. Whatever's happened, and Hazelwood literally. I remember he's the one guy that can just, you know, deck that ball back as well into sort of, I suppose, the vulnerable area for Rooty. So I can see that battle being massive. And you said as well in England, I mean, Warner struggled with Broad, but it's a slight different out here, isn't it? Without the dukes, the lengths and that. And obviously, I mean, you feel that Warner batting in these conditions is a completely different animal to the conditions with England in the Duke's ball, where he does go hard at the ball in that channel. And obviously Broady for 12 months from round the wicket, but to all left-handers actually has caused them problems at home.
Yeah, that ball he bowls from around the wicket to get, as you say, it gets most people out, not just David.
Yeah.
But, again, I think he bowls that. He again, watching highlights of the last series, he got the ball to move a little bit as well. So, you know, if he bowls a similar length, he probably won't get that. You know, that again, he won't get that probably movement that he does with the Duke's ball. But I think if he can maybe bowl a fraction fuller, if he can get that similar line but a fraction fuller, he's still going to worry Warner. And again, a lot of the times he got him out in the last series, he came over the wicket and sort of pushed across. So it's a great battle. You know, I think last time you were out here, I think it was Broad and Clark. You know, they had a great battle, and this time again it's going to be Broad and Warner. So it's really exciting knowing those matchups are coming up. And Jimmy with Smith, you know. The same. It's you know, with Smith, the way he plays over here, he just has so much confidence, and so it's going to be interesting to see how England, not just Jimmy as well, but also the rest of the bowlers try and bowl to Smith and how they attack him, whether they go wide to him or whether they keep it nice and tight on that sort of fourth to off stump line. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do. and how they deal with it.
No, you're right. I remember obviously from the last tour, I think England probably went to plan A, B, C, D, E and F, to be honest, to Smith, and nothing worked on the last tour here. So it was, amazing to watch the skill level.
Wouldn't be the first team to do that either. They're not the first. You're not the first to do that. But we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, it's going to be it'll be fascinating, really. And like you said, actually, when you start thinking about, I'm sure that morning of the Test match, we'll all be waking up and wishing we were playing, because those moments when the anthems go on and everything is just what you play for. So I think we're chomping at the bit to see how this one pans out.
It's hard to describe that moment, isn't it? That when you get to the ground, and I was trying to describe it on a radio interview I did today, a bit of media, and it sort of gives you tingles thinking about it, but you can't really get that emotion out, because it's just a feeling when as we go, you get up in the morning, you go to the ground, you walk across the ground, and you get in there, you know what's coming up, and then you have your routines, you do all that, you go through it all, and then you get to that moment where you're called up and say, right, anthem time. It's like, we're on. And again, that moment there when you're walking out, you're lining up, and your anthems are played, that just doesn't, you can't replicate that moment. What about a prediction, Belly? What do you think? I've been asked that a lot over the last couple of days, and I hate doing predictions. I know Glenn McGrath used to try and get on top of the opposition teams and give his prediction out there, but I'm not a big predictor of results.
For my prediction, my heart's saying one thing and my head's saying something very different. I feel if England can start well, they have a chance, and that's my heart saying it. But my head probably says that it's probably going to be 3-1 Australia. That's sort of my heart says that, but I'm sorry, my head's saying that just from conditions. But there's an opportunity, as you said. I think that was world-class players both sides, but I would have thought they have a confidence. There's an opportunity here. There really is an opportunity for England to win a series.
Yeah. Now I agree.
Yourself, what do you reckon, mate?
I agree. I'm not. I'm confident England are going to give a good showing. I was trying to find where they would win. I was sort of going 3-0, maybe 4-0. Again, that's my heart. I think there'll be a draw, maybe 2 in there, and maybe depending on the weather here, which, as you say, could be a good thing for England to walk away from here. Look, you don't want to. You never ride your opposition off, because you just never know what happens, especially after India. But here at the Gabba, but. Yeah, I think we'll win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as what we think. I hate putting numbers on it. 3-0, maybe 4-0, but again, I don't know where England are going to win. If they're going to win anywhere, maybe the day-night test.
Yeah, that was the only one I felt that if you win a toss on the day-night test and you get the right break of, you score your runs during the day and you bowl in the nice periods where it's that twilight period.
Yeah, twilight.
They have a suiting attack, really. That's sort of English seeming attack that might expose anything that's there. But as you said, one thing, my head's saying one thing and my heart's saying something completely different. But but like I said, I think both teams have both teams have the class, but also have a bit of vulnerability in there as well.
Yeah, and I think the England have been written off a little bit with the young blokes coming over, and I think that's exciting, because first in, they haven't had the damage of potentially being in series before, where they haven't won. It's a new thing for them, so I think that's exciting to have new blood, and again with a little bit with that older sort of experience around the place. Who knows, mate? I think it's going to be a really, really close contested series.
Let's hope so.